Hey, what's up? First up, Sony has recently sent out invites for a brand new system software beta for the PlayStation 5. This is part of their ongoing public beta program, and it gives players a chance to test features before they roll out to everyone else. In this case, the invites include beta codes that can be redeemed to download a preview build of the upcoming system software. But here's the strange part. A bunch of people who got the email actually couldn't download it right away because the codes weren't active at the time the emails hit inboxes. Folks were swapping notes on forums about redeemable codes working in some regions and not in others. And there were all kinds of different experiences with that aspect of the rollout timeline. You know how it is when something hits early and isn't perfectly polished? It turns into a bit of a community event trying to figure out who can actually get it installed. So what's in the beta that has people talking? You might be raised an eyebrow at this because it's not some huge overhaul or wild new feature, but it's actually a set of pretty meaningful incremental changes that tweak how the system feels on a day-to-day basis. The most talked about addition is support for Unicode 17.0 emojis. That means when you're sending messages to your friends through the PlayStation Network, you'll now have access to the latest emoji set. For some of you, that's going to sound kind of small, but if you're active in messaging and you love expressing yourself with little icons and reactions, this opens up a whole new world of communication options straight from your PS5 controller. It's a nice little social upgrade that shows Sony is thinking about the little things that players actually use. Alongside the emoji support, Sony also mentions that they've improved messaging and usability on some screens. That's one of those patch notes that's not super specific in writing, but in practice it usually means smoother navigation, better layout logic, fewer taps to get where you're trying to go, and less frustration overall when you're jumping around menus or reading through chats. It's the kind of thing that you don't always notice until it just works better than before, and then suddenly you're wondering how you ever dealt with the old way. There's also the classic "we've improved system software performance and stability" bit in the patch notes. Players who've been around console updates for a while know that this line usually covers a whole range of behind-the-scenes improvements. Things like faster load times for certain interfaces, fewer background hiccups, better memory management, and in some cases, even subtle fixes that keep crashes and freezes at bay. It's not glamorous, but it's the backbone of what keeps your PS5 running reliably over time. Sometimes that's way more important than flashy new features, especially if you're someone who plays a ton and wants the platform to feel rock solid. Another interesting thing that's been popping up in community discussions around this beta is that if you decide to revert from the beta firmware back to the latest official release version, you could experience a few quirks, like certain games not working correctly until they're reinstalled or some notifications disappearing. It's a reminder that beta software, even when it's just a few changes, can affect how your console behaves under the hood. That's why people who dive into these betas often back up data beforehand, just to be safe. So if you do decide to check it out, go into it knowing there might be a couple bumps along the way, and be ready to help Sony squash bugs by reporting what you find. Now, in terms of timetable for everyone else who isn't part of the beta, it's expected that these features, especially the emoji support, will roll out to all PS5 users at some point in March 2026 once testing wraps up and Sony signs off on the final build. It's the usual playbook: test in beta, collect feedback, fix issues, and then release broadly. So even if you don't have access to the beta yet, you will likely see these improvements hit your console before too long. People in the beta program are already sharing codes and troubleshooting issues on social platforms and forums, showing that there's still a bit of a community effort involved in navigating these early drops. Some codes have region locks, some expire on certain dates, and some just don't work until Sony flips a switch on their end. It's part of the wild world of beta testing, but overall, the reactions seem pretty positive because small usability improvements and more expressive messaging options are welcome when they contribute to a smoother overall experience. So that's the scoop on this February 2026 PS5 system software beta. A small but thoughtful update that focuses on enhancing messaging with new emoji support, polishing the user interface for better day-to-day usability, and strengthening overall performance and stability so the console runs just that much smoother. And even though some folks had a bit of trouble redeeming their codes at first, it's shaping up to be a solid preview of what's coming to the wider PS5 community soon. Whether you're all about the little social touches or you're just glad your console keeps getting better over time, this is one of those updates that quietly makes your PlayStation experience a bit more enjoyable.